Hello, everyone. Hello. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you so much. As you come on, if you don't mind, if you could go ahead and share, we have an amazing, amazing special guest that I really want everybody to hear her story of purpose that God has blessed her with. So, again, as you come on, thank you so much for joining. If you have young children, this will be a great time to have a family night to listen to this live. As a matter of fact, my nephew is like, I want to see, I want to hear it, I want to hear it. This is a story that will inspire young and old, and not only inspire, but actually give you some tips and tools about life. So as you come on again, if you don't mind sharing, inviting somebody, your friends, your uncles, enemies, frenemies, it doesn't even matter. Invite them. This is going to be an amazing, amazing live as you come on again. And thank you so much for joining. Thank you. Let me go on here. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Thank y'all so much. Hey, Nicole, LaRon. Hey, Angel, Jose. Thank you guys for joining. Hey, Sister Tiffany. Hey, Quay. Hey, Dimitri, Pastor Demetrius, Serene, Angie. Thank you guys for joining. Hey, thank you for joining. Thank y'all. I'm gonna invite a few more people, and then we're gonna get started. I'm excited. I am so excited about tonight. Very much so excited about tonight. Alrighty. As we also do this live, if you have questions, make sure you inbox, or you can even put them in the bottom of the chat. We'll try to make sure that we can get in any questions that are answered. Thank God we have set aside time for this to be a part one and part two. I really feel like her life's purpose, as she has begun it, is going to have a great impact on some people. And so I wanted to make sure to allot enough time to get her story out. Again, thank you for joining. I'm Pastor Nakeesha Tate. And tonight we're talking about the speed of purpose. And I have a very special guest with me on tonight by the name of Teona Rodgers, an amazing young woman who I met maybe about 2-3 years ago. And we're going to invite her in. Let's see here. Going to invite her in here. Hello.
Hey, Pastor Nikki.
How are you, darling?
I am doing great. I cannot complain. God has been faithful. I'm just basking in his glory. So I'm doing great.
See, that's what I'm talking about. And I guess what you don't need, it's all for his purpose, right?
Absolutely.
So,
Everything.
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 Yes, ma'am. So, you all that are joining me, thank you so much for joining. As you can see, I just brought in my special guest tonight, Teona Rodgers, and I'm going to let her tell a little bit about herself. How old she is, all these, whatever she want to tell you. She has a very special person in her life, and I'll let her tell you about him. As we go into this story, God gave me this title, "The Speed of Purpose," through someone. I met Teona personally about maybe 3 years ago, 2, 3 years
Mm-hmm.
ago, and I always knew of her, heard a lot about her because my husband is a track coach, and all we would hear from Coach Newt is Teona, y'all gotta meet Teona, and I was like, oh my gosh, she must be a very special person. And then when I met her, I was like, oh, okay, that's Teona, and everything he said about it was absolutely true. And when you have someone who can speak about your life,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't know it, that says a lot. And that's the thing that got me. We never knew her personally at first, but he was always talking about her. And for me, that's a big thing when someone can speak of you and you don't know it. And it's like,
Yeah,
oh, okay. So when we met, I was
absolutely.
like, okay, so this is this superstar Teona we've heard so
Yes.
much about. And so Teona, as we get started, just tell the people a little bit about yourself.
There's a lot of different facets to me.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna pull this thing back layer by layer.
Yes.
I'm 31. I just turned 31 last Thursday. To God be the glory. I do have a son. If you don't know by now, his name is Josiah, but I like to call him my little buddy, so I call him Buddy. I have a beautiful family, wonderful family. I'm the oldest of six.
Mm.
It's six of us, and um, my mom and my grandmother pretty much raised me to be this wonderful woman that I am today. Of course, I had to follow my own to figure this thing out, but for the most part, they did an excellent job with me. Um, I love to read. Reading
Mm-hmm.
has become a great passion of mine because you learn so much when you read about different areas of life. And I don't read just the Bible, but I read philosophy as well, and
Mm.
a lot of philanthropy, a lot of help me say the word, philanthropy.
Philanthropy. Mm-hmm.
Yes, thank you. I read
Mm-hmm.
a lot of that too, and it's just reading like helps you grow.
Yeah.
It opens up your mind to think about different things. I love to do Sudoku. I am,
Mm.
and I do it in pen because I don't make no mistakes when I do Sudoku.
Okay.
So I love to Sudoku. I love this to gospel music.
Mm.
Gospel music has definitely saved my life so many different times in so many different areas. It has spoken to me, it has encouraged me, it has motivated me. So if
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing anything else, I'm also listening to gospel music all at the same time.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
Isn't that amazing? Yeah, because that sets you up right there. That'll pull you right
sure
out
does.
of whatever your little funk. I know that's my testimony. You want to get right, put on some gospel music.
Absolutely. It never
Put on
fails.
some gospel music. That's right. And so tonight, viewers, we're talking about the speed of purpose. And
Mm-hmm.
many of us know that in life, everybody has a purpose that they have to serve. However, in our lives, we tend to take the steering wheel and we tend to create our own speed. Either we end up going too fast or we end up going too slow. And
Yes.
thus God says, okay, well, you have a great purpose, which everyone does. I don't care how small we think it is. Our purpose is great in Him because
Yeah.
it is always to impact, to number one, to glorify God, but then to impact others. And so
Right.
tonight, with the speed of purpose, with this topic in Teona, and I want you to begin to share. Because it's important. And this is what I want the viewers to get, that number one, again, everybody has a purpose to serve. A lot of
Yeah.
people going through a lot of different things. If you're watching and think you're worthless, I'm telling you, when you hear her story, you're going to
Yes.
understand that you're not. You have a purpose to serve. And sometimes life takes us down all of these paths.
Mm-hmm.
Again, and it creates a speed that we've created because of our own things. Sometimes we've all been there, done that. But God still has a way of saying, okay, now it's time for you to release the steering wheel. Now
Yeah.
you might be think you're going fast, but let me go ahead and put the brakes on this for you. And so I want you to start with for me so people can understand. I don't a lot some of us that are joining, we know the end of what happened. But I want
Yeah.
you to talk about the beginning. I want you to talk about how you grew up and with the end, but talk about little things about how you grew up and what was your life like as a child, as a teen? You were a great athlete. You got recruited in college, and I might be moving a little fast, but you got recruited in college on a full scholarship, which is
Mm-hmm.
amazing at one of the best universities in the world. Okay.
Yes.
I might be a little bit biased, but let's talk about that a little bit so we can build this story for the viewers layer by layer so they can understand your
Mm-hmm.
beginning and thus understanding the end or now this part of the process.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, I'm the oldest of six. My mom, she worked, boy. She worked hard to make sure that all of us had every single thing that we needed. She made it
Mhm.
sure that we had all the learning utensils. We went to the best schools. She worked really hard to raise us, and I was like the typical kid, the oldest of six, of course, but the typical kid going outside playing. I didn't really discover, my talent until middle school. And
Mm.
I'm chasing, we having PE, so to speak, and I'm playing around, and the coach is like, "Hey, I think you really should run track." And I was like, "Okay, just something to do." And turns out I was really good at it. So, middle school, I was developing my athleticism, and
Mhm.
then in high school, my 8th grade year, I said, "Okay, this is something I really want to do. I have to
Mhm.
make sure I put myself, talking to my mom, I have to make sure I put myself in a great situation at a great school that's going to help me flourish and be this athlete." So it was
Mhm.
always track and field. And we end up going to Wharton.
Mhm.
Wharton has like an 85% to 90% scholarship rate for
Mhm.
all their athletic students. And I knew that's where I needed to be.
Mhm.
So I end up going there and trying out for the track team. And Coach Newton had no idea what to do with me. I was tall and
Wow.
lean, full of personality. Um, so he was like, "Well, let's try this." And we tried different events, but nothing seemed to work. Now I end up doing the hurdles, just playing around because, like kids, you see stuff, you just jump
Mhm.
over it,
Mhm.
trying to get from one place to the next. And then he asked me to do it again. And I did again. He was, I guess, a bell clicked in his
Mhm.
mind that that's what I should do. So track and field just became my outlet to everything that was going on with myself. And, as we grow up as teenagers and we start going through different changes, we feel and believe that our parents don't understand. So we don't
Right.
talk to somebody about it. They wouldn't understand I'm becoming a girl to a woman, or she wouldn't understand that I like this guy and he doesn't like me. So it's those different changes of being coming to a young adult that, you teenagers don't share. So track and field was like my outlet.
Mhm.
In the process of me running, like any other athlete, African American athlete, being honest, my grades started to slip so
Mhm.
bad. It started to slip really bad, but I was still good on the track because I felt like if I was good, I'll just run my way through everything.
Mhm.
Just run my way
Mhm.
as I could. And because I'm fast, then they'll give me a pass. Because I can do this for them, and we can win championships and we can win stakes and all other stuff, they'll give me a pass. I can just tell my teacher, they'll change the grade, and then all will be well. I'll be able to run. So that was my mindset and my mentality. And I wasn't telling my mom and grandma that I had homework or I was struggling with my academics. I didn't tell them that. I told them I did my homework because
Mhm.
I found track and field to be an outlet for me, and I wasn't going to let nothing like take that away in a sense. Because
Mhm.
typically, your parents like, "Well, if you don't do your homework, I'm gonna pull you out the game, or you won't be able to race tonight," or something of that nature, which was healthy because
Mhm.
academics should always be important.
Right.
I end up being this track and field phenomenon,
Mhm.
and I'm winning here, and I'm developing, and I'm growing. Coach Newton is definitely taking his time out to make sure my technique was good, and then he brought Dan Mathis along, and Coach Mathis helped me with my speed. So now I feel like I'm unstoppable. But in
Mm.
the process of that, my grades study kept slipping.
Mm.
And my social, I would say like my social being, like track and field was my primary focus. I felt like that was my bread and butter to life. I want to move everybody out the hood, so to speak, and buy my mama a house and buy my mom a car. So I had to focus on track and field. I felt like if I was to study, I couldn't work on my trail leg. I couldn't do different things. So I couldn't study because I got to get this trail leg fast. I got to get this time down. Over a period of time of my high school career, I was still a great athlete, but I struggled tremendously with academics. And if
Mhm.
you are a parent and you are viewing and you have a high schooler who is phenomenal in their sport, education is so important because you never know when an injury comes and all that is taken away. Only thing we have to fall back on is our education. And I understand that it's fun to run, to play basketball, to play football, and schoolwork is lame. Schoolwork is for people who not fast or who can't catch the ball or who can't shoot layups all day. But it really is. That actually is the most important thing to be an athlete. You have to be a smart one too, because it's gonna come tests and trials in your life that you're gonna have to know how to deal with it. You have to be able to study these practical things that we learn in school. So when you are faced with a trial or tribulations, you will have the intellect to deal with it and not so much the physicality of your athletics to deal with it. So I graduated, but it took a lot. I was in night school. It took me, Lord knows how long, to pass the ACT, the SAT, because I never studied. I never studied. I just figured I can go in and take the test because I felt like I knew the stuff, and I really didn't. So I took the SAT a couple of times, ACT a couple of times, and when I graduated high school, of course, school starts in the fall in August. I did not pass I had not passed the SAT yet. So I couldn't even start in the fall, and the test wasn't given until September. So you telling a track and field phenom who is ready to branch out into the collegiate athletics that I can't even start in the fall, and everybody know fall training is very important because it gets you ready for outdoor. So that was a semi eye opener for me that I need to really stay on my academics, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't staying firm on. I have to make sure my grades stay on point because all I can think about is my talent is going to get me through. And most of the time, we all think our talent is going to get us through. We'll have somebody to deal with the logistics and the intellectual stuff. I'm going to be the talent and you be the engineer. You do everything else. But that's not how this thing go, So I end up taking the test. I ended up passing it, and then I started school in January. So spring, I did not redshirt. For y'all know redshirt is you sit out a season. I went right into it. But while I was here, I was under Coach Mathis' authority, and he was training me, get me ready. I'm trying to get my off-season training ready. Now, as you hear, I'm focusing on track and field alone. I am not focused on my mental. I'm not focused on my psychological. I'm not focused on my emotional being. I'm not focused on anything. All of it was my physical being and what I knew I can do in my physical being for me in the future, which later on we will talk about how that backfired big time. So everything was track and field. My mom, my grandma, they supported me. They came to the track and field events. They got T-shirts. They have my mom's getting everybody snacks. My grandma getting everybody snacks. They drive me to and fro. I'm traveling on the plane, and everything is for track and field because that's who I was, and I found my identity in my gift. I am track and field. I am a hurdler. I have this record, I have that record, and that's who I was. I was Teona Rodgers, the track and field female.
So let me ask you something about that then before we go further. So at that moment, at that time, you created this persona because you found a gift that was worthy of the attention. You had a gift that whatever. So
yes.
Before that part, when you were a child or whatever, did you have an identity? When we grow up and we're little, oh, I want to be this. We have these dreams of things that we want to be. Before you became this athlete and took it seriously, almost, did you have an identity before that? Were you searching for an identity? Is that how you found track and field, searching for something? I mean, I know how you did it because someone said, hey, you need to run. But before someone was visible and able to see, oh, you might have something inwardly, yourself, though you were young, did you feel like you had an identity? Did you know, or even if you didn't know exactly what you were going to be, almost like, did you know what you were going to be when you grew up, if that makes sense?
No, I had the same common answer you asked a 7-year-old. What do you want to be, a doctor? What you want to be, a lawyer? What you want to be, like a veterinarian. Like it really wasn't something that I thought about at that age. You know, it was just a typical answer. Oh, I want to be a school teacher, to be honest with you, because me and my sister, we would cut up all our notebook paper and we'll play school. So I'm like, okay, a school teacher, because that's what we did, you know, between us three in our spare time. But nothing that was very pressing, like, Ma, I really want to do this because I've seen this TV show. It wasn't anything like that.
Wow. And this is one point that I want to make, and I ask this even for young people that are watching, that even though you're young and you don't feel like you have an identity, you have nothing that you connect with, God always has people in the speed of your purpose, like the person who saw her when she was in 8th grade. Even if they're not the person that is going to cultivate that gift, they may just be the person that is going to recognize that gift.
Yes.
And as she said in the 8th grade, her coach saw her playing in PE and said, hey, you know, you might be good in that. He was the one who recognized it. So that's one point, parents, or some young, I had asked some parents, have your young kids on. Young kids, understand this. Don't get weary about, I don't know what I want to do. Be a child.
Yes.
Not live your life, but live your life. Find yourself doing the things you need to do. And God will put in that speed of purpose a person who can recognize that gift. Okay, so 8th grade, you're in PE. Someone sees you running and say, you might want to do track. And I'm just kind of backtracking for those who are just coming in. Then you go in the 8th grade, you take it seriously, and you find out you have something. You go to Wharton, you want to do this thing, you're finding this love for it, and you have a coach that you accidentally or by chance jumped over a hurdle, and it's like, hold on, there's something there. So now you have somebody who recognized your gift. Then you go to the next level after you gain a love for it and an interest, and you commit it to what someone recognized. Then someone else recognized that gift, who had an expertise, who had an ability, who had an eye for what your purpose was. Which was Coach Newton and Coach Mathis. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Okay. And then you're saying, so then your grades failed a little bit because you did not understand the balance.
Right.
Okay. And the point you made was so key. You said, because I was more concentrating on my gift.
Yes.
My gift. That's a good point, children, if you're listening. And what I hear her saying, and then you can say a little more, your gift is not enough.
Right.
Not enough. Continue. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, you're totally fine. Yeah, your gift is not enough. And the gifts of, biblically speaking, of course, the word of God is to edify and to build each other up, to build the church up, to give someone motivation and encouragement. So instead of me finding my identity in the gift giver, so to speak, and be like, okay, God, you gave me this gift. How do you want me to use it? How do you want me to use it? Because had not done that, he would have brought that balance of athletics and academics. But I recognized what it was that I was really doing. You know, I just knew I was good at something. I wanted to be great at it, but I didn't acknowledge the individual, Jesus Christ, God, Holy Spirit, who gave me the gift. And I just focused on the gift in itself. And I tried to cultivate that gift on my own, which we'll talk about later, that ended up in the way that it could have went different. Let's just say that. It could have went different. Acknowledge God as the gift giver.
Wow. Yeah. So that is so good.
Yes.
You had a gift, you knew it. But here's the thing though, that I am hearing from you is that you were young and you did not fully understand the balance of, you have a gift, the gift giver, and then the natural actually utilizing, taking seriously your academics. But you had a drive. You had a drive, and you had an awareness enough to say, this is my gift, though it was, again, not balanced. I need to put everything into what I know this is God has given me.
Yes.
To make sure it was perfected.
Yes.
Again, though you did not have the balance. So for, again, those young kids watching, everyone that is watching, even in the speed of the purpose of your life, you can find when there's not balance that you have the drive for the gift to cultivate the gift. But like she said, then you have to submit it to the gift giver.
Yes.
With, again, and as you said, you'll find out later how when you begin to slow it down and recognize that, okay, my gift is not enough. It's an entrance. It is something that I have to do. It's something that God has given me, but that ain't all. It's a piece of the puzzle. Okay, so you go to high school. you are breaking records. And I just know a little bit about this because my daughter was on track and field, and you winning states. That's a big thing. Listen, Wharton is known for that. They're
Yes.
known for that. So you were right about that. You're breaking records, and then your grades weren't up to par. Tell me what your psyche was like when you realized, because see, I know how that feels. I had a daughter. She was, she was second at states, but when all these schools are coming at you, because I mean, you went to an amazing school, and you had great times, and I know because they're still up on the board. Ain't nobody broke them yet at Wharton. Let me just put that in there. So that means you're in a certain mindset. What
Right.
was your mindset when you said, okay, I'm going to this school, or however that worked, and come to find out, like, what did it do to you that, oh no, not you, you're not going right now? Explain your mental position at that moment, because again, you had to be very confident, of course, which you have to be if you're a champion. You winning everything, you winning states, breaking records at that young age, and your
Mm-hmm.
times was amazing. What
Right.
was your mindset when you got the news that, hey, no, you're not going right now?
I was devastated. I was upset. And to be totally transparent, I blame God for it.
You did what?
Blamed God for it.
Okay.
And what I did was I say, well, God, how did you give me an amazing gift,
Mm.
but you did not give me the intellect? That's what I did. In my own spare quiet time, that's what I did. And I was so hurt because it was like the fast girl was also slow mentally.
Mm.
That's how I perceived myself when I got denied. So, and again, I'm worrying about what other people think. So what people are going to say, because I'm not starting school in fall. So I'm bounding myself back and forth, trying to pin the blame on something, because I wasn't mature enough to accept my responsibility of not studying the way I should have, and not taking my academics important, like not taking them as serious as I took track and field. And my mom telling me all the time, like, you just how you run fast, you have to study too. You have to put the same effort on the track and field like you do in the books. When you don't do that, before it got to a point of me not being able to go, my mom around was, you gotta study. They'll take me to night school. I was going to night school in Chamberlain. They'll take me there, and they was like, you gotta study, or you're gonna get to that point. And I got upset with them for even saying that. I'm like, why would you say that? No, wow. I'm not. I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna study. I'm gonna do what I'm supposed to do. But when the time came where I could not pass the test the way I should have, I was devastated. And I was like, God, why would you do this to me? Like, you doing this to me, and I'm gonna look bad, and I'm start late, and everyone that I was running high school track with and seeing that Nike invite indoor and outdoor, Adidas indoor, outdoor, and all the different AAU conferences that I've competed in, although they're all going to school and I'm here. And I was devastated. And in that moment, I had to realize, sit down, cried all my little crocodile tears, and sit down and be like, okay, Teona, you have to do something different. You won't be able to just rely on track and field so much. You have to be able to rely on your mind to take you further, or so you can better understand what you're called to do in track and field. But I was hurt and I was devastated. And all the colleges, of course, they were sending me letters like, well, it has come across that you have yet to pass the standardized test. So with that being said, we will no longer be moving forward with you. And that sentence, we would no longer be moving forward.
Come on.
That just crushed. It was an ego buster for sure. It was a shot to my pride. And I questioned, maybe I wasn't meant for track and field. I maybe I wasn't meant for it, because it's requiring me to give something for two reasons. I didn't want to give, and I didn't know how to give. I didn't know how to sit still and study. I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how to, like, I didn't want to ask for help. Because with me being the oldest of 6, I felt like I had to be the example. So if I was to ask for help, I would look weak to my siblings. Right. And I didn't want to show a weak trait to them, not knowing that weak is actually good. But I didn't want to show a weak trait to them. So I didn't ask for help. I never said that I was struggling. it was like, I figure it out and I'll ask someone at school to help me. But it was an arrow to my heart for sure. When they took back all the scholarship that they gave me, I had a few scholarship letters, but when they took them all back, I was like, wow. So now what? I was
Wow.
at a now what phase?
So, wow. Now that's good. So
Yeah.
you go from not knowing your identity, what you want to do. I always use this term because my mama asked me this, must have asked us this every day from the time we was born until we knew what you want to be when you grow up. That's the old
Right.
saying. What you want to be when you grow up? My mom said, tell me what you want to be. Everybody go down the line. They like you. It'll be a different story every time. But I think it was just an awareness that you need to find your identity.
Yes.
But so you go from not knowing your identity to God putting someone in your path who had just had the ability just to recognize it. They didn't have the ability to cultivate it. They had the ability to recognize it and plant a seed to say, that might be a thing. That seed then stays in you. You try it. Then you gain a love for it. You decide, okay, this might be something I can do. You become serious about it while that seed is in you still germinating, because it's a part of your purpose now, because that purpose led you to this end, to this new process you're in, right? And in this thing, then God puts you in a place where not only does a person recognize your gift, but they understand that they only have the ability to help you execute your gift in one area. So they now have an ability to say, hey, I'm not enough. Let me bring somebody else on, Coach Mathis, who we can become this total package for this special gift. And as that's happening, you're like, okay, yeah, hey, I can do this. And you then get this love, you get recognition almost in a way without full responsibility, because you're only relying on your gift, right?
Yes.
Which is not a bad thing, but when you only rely on it, again, as you said, it's a bad thing. And you go through this, you become this phenom. That means everybody know you. You are the top of the top. Trust me, and she was, because I knew of her without never meeting her when we set foot in South Carolina. All you heard when you walked on Wharton, Teona Rodgers. Teona Rodgers. I'm like, my God, Teona Rodgers. I'm telling you, every time. And so you become this household name, as it were. Listen, in your then season, and in your now season, in your previous season, because I heard of you when you were past that. That means that your identity and who you were was worth something. Okay, that's a whole nother thing.
Yes.
And then you have met the pinnacle of what you have exercised your gift, this natural ability. To get, as it were, what seemed like rejected, because you had responsibility and drive for the gift, but you did not have the balance of what it took to level out that gift, where you can expand that gift, where it made more room for you. And now you presented with a denial that you're not going.
Yep.
Wow. Parents, if you have your children listening, let me tell you, this is an amazing story. I talk to kids so many times. I don't coach track and nothing like that. I play basketball, volleyball, and I was nowhere on her level. Trust me, because my little scholarship was to my local college, but it was good enough because they paid for my schooling. But I'm just saying. But if you children are listening at anything she is saying, you need to understand. And we're gonna talk some more. But Teona, I want you to talk to some children who are in high school right now and briefly talk to them about, and I know you said it a little bit, but I want you to talk directly to them about the responsibility. You all heard the gift. It took her to the highest level, but talk about it. Just give us a few minutes, give them a few minutes of encouragement, instruction, and responsibility of the gift.
The gift is very important. Let's not get that construed. The gift is very important. But something that is even more important than the gift is the mind to know how to understand the gift. When I say that, I mean, let's not forsake studying. We cannot forsake that. That is very important. We cannot downplay being smart.
Come on.
So the smartest professional, some of the greatest professional athletes are extremely smart. So we don't want to downplay that. It is not lame to study. It is not lame to close yourself up in your room and be on your laptop. It is not lame to get A's on exams and on tests. It is not lame because we want to be able to fit in, but when we fit in, we can't stand out. So
Come
if you
on.
trying to stand out and you're really trying to let people know that you are serious for business, then you're going to be different. You're not going to be that one that's going to be out late night. You're going to be home studying, because at the end of the day, our gift is for long-term purposes. When it's cultivated right, it's for long-term. It's not something that's short-term that we're going to do right now in this moment. That's not how that is. We make it that way when we don't find that balance. But our gift is for long-term purposes. But with the gift always come responsibility.
Come
God
on.
not going to be able to give us the gift and then give us the mind to make sure we can keep the gift. He's not going to do that. He will give us a little bit, and he's going to rely on us to do the rest. So if you are in school and you do foresee yourself being a professional at your sport, please, please, please go as hard in the books as you do on the court, in the field, on the track, wherever it is that you play your sport. Go just as hard. I promise you, you won't. It, it'll take you so much further. It'll take you so much further. And you can also be a beacon of light to everyone around you. Start a study group. And it's okay to say you don't know. That's why I struggle. I did not want to say I didn't know, because I didn't want to look less than. Since my gift had me up here, me saying I don't know brought me down here. And I was so concerned with what other people thought and not concerned of what my family thought of me at the time. Not what God thought of me, but what my family thought of me at the time. So create a study group. If you need extra help after class, ask the teacher for extra help. I promise you, it'll be one of the greatest things you ever done, and you will get accustomed to asking for help. That does not make you weak, that does not make you stupid, that does not make you not like the other kids. And actually, it takes a lot of courage to say that you don't know. And that's what I want people to understand, because don't everybody want to figure it out, and that's fine, but it takes some courage and some strength and some gut to say, you know what, I don't know, can you help me? And in that mentality of that humility of not knowing, the Bible says, if you humble yourself, I will exalt you. So you must humble yourself and to know that we're doing this thing long term. This is not nothing short term, but long term comes in the responsibility, and the responsibility is in your academics. As long as you're able to balance those two out, you don't have to worry about your gift leaving, and you don't have to worry about not knowing what to do if your gift decides to leave, or if you just decide to hang up, your shoes, your sneakers, your cleats. When you decide to hang that up, you always gonna have your academics to fall back on and everything that you learned during that whole entire process. So if you are watching and you a high school student and you ready to just take the world by force in your gift, do so, and don't be apologetic about it. But at the same time, find that balance in your academics and know that is just as important. Then that's the bread and the butter. The academics and the athletics, that's bread and butter. If you got bread and butter, you got one heck of a toast.
Listen, that is awesome. And when you said something so powerful, and I really want parents and children to hear this, especially parents. One thing she said was she had her mom and her grandma who was supporting her, who was pushing her. They recognized the gifts. They probably already knew there was something special about her. This girl is going to do some great things. And she said that they were telling the whole time, you got to study. Make sure you study. Make sure you do your work. Make sure you do this. Make sure you do that. But she said that because her gift had exalted her, and what happens is we have to be careful. And she said it, and the word is called pride. We become prideful because it's like, oh, I got this. I worked hard. And, it's not pride where like, oh, I'm just good and I ain't work. No, she worked hard. She worked hard. And that area of her life, she was prideful. And because all pride is not bad, it's just too much of it. Again, balance. But it's because she worked hard. But on the opposite end, she had a support group that was saying to her, hey, you got to get your work. And she said a word called humility. We have to learn, children. I don't care how great you are. And she said it, but I'm just going to reiterate it. Even parents, I don't care how great your child is in a sports or in a thing. There has to be a level of humility, because in that thing, you're always learning. Always learning. You are never, because every round you go, and she'll probably tell you this, it's somebody better than you, And you don't know that until, you know, you're a big fish. I used to tell my son this. He playing in the NFL right now. And this lady, Teona, said to me, because after school, you know, he scored touchdowns and all that. And we'd be like, okay, you did all right. And I told him one day, I was like, understand this. You're a big fish in a very small pond. And this lady walked up to me and was like, how dare you? That is insensitive. Why would you say that to your son? I said, because he have people like you who are haranguing him and that do not understand that when he go to the college level, everybody good. And if he makes
Yes, everybody.
that level, everybody good. And there has
Yes.
to be something that sets the bar higher for you. She said humility. One more thing you said, Teona, that I want parents to get. And she said, because your gift is not short term. The word I heard when you said that is impact. Your gift is not just for you. It isn't short term because it's not just for you. When it's enough for you, it satisfies you, and that's it. Her gift impacted people. Do y'all hear what I'm telling you? I'm not boosting her head up. I'm explaining to you so when you hear the end of her story, you can understand how this worked. Her gift impacted because people still talk about her. But again, it is not for short term. It is for the long term because it impacts people. Children, listen to your parents. They got your back.
Yes.
Listen to your parents. Go ahead, Teona. Oh,
well, you asked me to talk to adults.
Yeah, and I thought you were going to say something. I don't have on my glasses. So
no, go ahead. No, you're fine. Go ahead.
So we talked about impact. We talked about what it felt like, the disappointment, the denial. Again, the denial was not a denial. It just was a denial because she had to earn the responsibility to be able to expand and walk in that door and to elevate that door, that her gift that God gave her, that she cultivated and that she took responsibility in on one end, she had to have earned another level of responsibility. So she got denied. It shocked her humanness. It shocked her pride. And I brought her back down and said, yeah, your gift good, but you need something else. And so then you get depressed. And back then, even in my time, you know, depression was a hard thing. I'm by no means downplaying your depression, my depression. Nowadays, kids are so inundated with other things like social media. Now, and like in my day, we didn't really have social media. People be like, oh, she didn't go to school. Okay, nowadays, you all over. If you want to top ones, everybody in the world know it. If you are number one, everybody in the world know it. You know, everybody's looking on Saturdays for them results and the times.
Yeah.
What school she go to? We're going to keep following her. And that can lead you into a depression that I can't believe, like, I work for this and now I'm nothing.
Yes.
I'm nothing. And your denial is not always a denial, but you got to know what to do in that denial. And what she did was she said, hold up, I got to do something different.
Yes.
And she worked hard. So you did not go your fall. You did not go the fall, which is August. You worked all the way through and you went that January, that spring.
That spring.
What do you think you were mentally okay? So with what you went through as an athlete, let's talk about at that moment. And I'm just going to ask, what was your spiritual life like? Though you were young at that moment, what was your spiritual life walk like with Christ?
I knew I was a Christian. You know, I believed in God, Jesus Christ, Holy Spirit. I believed in all that, but I wasn't seeking Him. I wasn't to get to know Him. We went to church, and you know, but it wasn't a message that penetrated me enough to be like, "Wow, what was that?"
Yeah,
you know, I was going to church to go to church. It was more so like I had to go to church, you know. But it wasn't like I had a religion, but I didn't have relationships.
Gotcha.
So that's why it went the way that it went, because I wasn't seeking to get a better understanding. But what I did was when stuff went wrong, I blamed him.
Even though you didn't know him?
Even though I didn't even know him. I blamed him. And I was like, okay. And in that, it was like, well, if you're going to do this to me, then I don't need to know you. You know, evidently I'm going to do good and I'm going to do bad, and then life is going to move on. So what would be the difference if I got to know you, if good and bad is still going to happen? Never really, you know, desired at that point in time to know who he really was.
So basically, but did you recognize though that gift that you had physically, as far as running track, did you recognize that was a gift from God, or you just knew it was a gift and it was something that you just were working on?
I knew it was a gift that I was working on.
Gotcha.
I would say this. I knew it was both, but I was more, because I didn't know him like that. I was more so a gift that I was just working on.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Which makes sense of why you would blame him, because it's like,
Right.
so you didn't have the awareness to say, well, if he can give me this gift, then maybe I'm not tapping in. Makes sense. Okay.
Right. Right.
Gotcha. So you did not have that. Once you got past that and you talked about the embarrassment, and it's be like 10 minutes from 8. So we're going to end with this a little bit, but before I finish this part and ask her another question, if you have questions, parents, put it in the bottom, put them in the chat. Because if you have questions, if your children are sitting and watching this with you, ask the questions. That is why she's here. She's here to
Yes.
any questions that you have. If it's something a little more personal, you can make sure to inbox her, message her. I'm telling you,
Please.
she has talked with our children. And when I tell you, with Aria, who ran hurdles, we physically met her at a time in Aria's life where we were like, we've given her everything that we could give her. She knows how to do it, but she needs someone else who has been there. And her dad was, but who was closer and understood in her age, as it were, what it took.
Yeah.
And she came in a time in my daughter's life where we could say, look at Teona. And I don't know if we ever told you this. We would say, like, look at Teona, like, look what she did. We walk here every day and we would say, who is Teona Rodgers? And God has now placed this young woman in your life who has experienced what you're experiencing, because she was being recruited too, but she lacked the confidence. She had the times, she had the colleges, but she lacked the confidence and all these things. And God brought you into her life at a time where she really needed you, because we were like, okay, like, we don't know what else. There has to be a female who is younger that can say, oh, come on, girl, come on, you got that, like, you doing
Right.
it. And I want to say, I appreciate you for that. Don't know if my husband has ever said it, if she's ever said it, but I appreciate you for that, because the impact that you had on Aria's life is amazing. That even, the things when you came out with her and you took the time, even though you weren't running at that moment, to come out and say, I work with her. You came out and warmed up, and she saw habits of, it wasn't like, see, you got to warm up properly. Like, you walked out there and said, it's important to warm up properly. You got to be fully warmed. Come on, let's warm up. So I appreciate you for that. That was so big. Yes. You was a lifesaver at that moment for us, and we appreciate that. Parents, if you have questions, because we got about 10 minutes, about 8 really, I want you to make sure you message. If you have children you're watching, don't be afraid, don't be ashamed. Ask any question. She's an open book.
Yes.
She is there for you. She's been there from our children. So I want to talk about this last part. So you passed the test, and when you pass the test, then at that point, okay, I'm going to school.
Right.
Did you already know it was Florida State, or?
Yes, I knew it was Florida State when I took my visit, and I just felt right at home with Florida State. And to be honest with you, looking back now, I knew that was a school for me, because out of all the schools that pulled out, when I have yet to pass the test, Florida State still stood there. And I was like, this is the school for me, because they have my back. And the coach at the time, she was messaging me, making sure that everything was okay, making sure I took the test. I got there on time, telling me to eat a nice dinner, or wake up and eat a strong breakfast. So she was there, and I knew that this is the school I was supposed to go to.
Wow.
Because that's the only school that stayed.
Before Florida State, what school was your school of choice?
Oh man, the Seminoles gonna get me when I say this. I wanted to be a Gator.
What?
Yes, I wanted to be a Gator. That's it. But I'm a Seminole, guys. I'm a Seminole. I believe Garden and Gold. We here now, but I wanted to be a Gator.
Wow. Yep. Wow. And y'all, we're talking about the speed of purpose. That is so crazy. You had a drive. You cultivated something because you had something in mind.
Yes.
And speed of purpose slowed you down enough to place you at a place where you needed to be. You had a place, the Gators, whatever, where you wanted to be. But we're talking about the speed of purpose, how God can interrupt your plan with the gift that he has given you to make sure that you get to the place that he has for you. He has for you. The speed of purpose. We're talking to Teona Rodgers. Teona, one last question I want to ask you. Okay,
Yes.
so the Gators, as they do, because that's what they do, they run. And then of course, you know, the cream rose to the top is always Florida State. You chose Florida State. That's where God wanted you to be.
Yes.
For those Seminole fans that are listening, don't do it wrong, because she did Florida State real well. Okay, so you go to Florida State. God leads you there with His speed of purpose. Pastor
Right.
Kim is saying, "Wow, UF," she's laughing at you. Anyway, and you go to Florida State, and you know you're going there, but you're still at home training. So you go from being depressed because I'm this phenom, I can almost choose where I want to go. Then you learn I can't, because I have not been responsible. I've been very responsible on one end of my natural gift, but in my academics, I have not been responsible. So now I can't elevate it. And now you have to take a little bit of time to do something that is untraditional, like
Right.
stay home for the first semester, and
Right.
you pass ACT or SAT or whatever it is, and you get the green light that I can go. So you go from depression to in thinking how I'm gonna do this. What
Mm-hmm.
happened when you knew you passed the test? Of course, I know you were excited. What happened with the shift in your mindset from when you knew that you weren't going to now I'm under anguish or whatever? Tell me about you, the transition of your mindset from, we know you were kind of upset, depressed, blaming God, even though you, like you were saying, it was your responsibility, to
Mm-hmm.
when you buckled down, did what you had to do, and what was your mindset, because you still had to wait.
Yeah. I was very excited. I was actually in Tallahassee when my mom called me. She was like, "Hey, we got your test results," and I was breathing hard and I was sweating. And she was like, I was like, "What's open up and tell me what it is?" And she told me what it was, and I was screaming. I was jumping up and down. I was jumping for joy, and I would like to say that after that moment, I buckled down and did what I was supposed to do. That's what I would like to say,
Uh-oh.
but I can't say that. What I did was I said, "All right, I'm back." That was my thing. I was back. Couldn't nobody tell me nothing. And now everybody was gonna have to pay because I sat out. And that was my honest thing. I was like, okay. Now, granted, we always say, "Oh Lord, if you get me out of this one, I do right." So that's what I said, but it wasn't in my heart. That was just something that I said. And
Mm-hmm.
when she told me I passed, and I end up, the FSU knew I passed already, but we just got notification. And the first thing that came to my mind was, all right, T, I'm gonna do this, but nah, I'm really finna show out now.
Mm.
This is my gift, and everybody's finna know this is my gift. And I knew, since this was a collegiate level, I couldn't slack like that as far as academic was concerned, but
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't at a level where, Teona, you cannot mess up this time. It wasn't as pressing as it was, it's my time for redemption.
Mm.
Go out there and I'm finna set the track on fire with no collegiate fall training. Now,
Mm.
granted, Coach Mathis, we did our thing down here in Tampa, because I was in Tampa training. I was just in Tallahassee for that short period of time. Like, we did our thing, and the coach was able to give us little workouts that they were doing up there, so I can be ready and,
Mm-hmm.
and stay ready. But I wasn't a part of it. It's different when you're training by yourself than when you actually training with the team you're going to travel with. So
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
didn't have that, and I was like, okay, so now let's go ahead and let's go ahead and do this.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my mind frame. I was excited, but it was like my ego shot up, my pride shot up, my adrenaline went up, because now I'm back to being able to do what I love with a purpose. Because I was training, and I want to say I wasn't training with purpose, but I kind of was, because I didn't know if I passed yet.
Mm-hmm.
So part of me was like, I could be training for nothing.
Mm.
Then my coach was like, "No, you passed, so we gonna train, we gonna get ready, we gonna be prepared." And that was a lesson in itself. Be ye always ready. He
Mm-hmm.
knew that I had passed the test. He knew. So I was, to him, I was training with a purpose. But
Mm-hmm.
to me, it was like I was staying in shape, because I had no idea if I had passed that test.
Wow.
So going from depressed, I went from depressed to feeling like I was back on top of the world, so to speak.
Mm.
So I mean, I would like to say it went a different way,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't.
Mm-hmm.
It
So you
didn't.
went. So you went from depression to, okay, I passed,
Yep.
and back on top of the world. And
Yep.
so, I don't want to go much further than this, because next Sunday you're gonna hear this amazing part about how God, I'm so excited. So I have to slow myself down. I almost wish I just would have said this for 2 hours so we can tell it all, because I know it and I'm like so excited, but
Yeah.
it's not smart. But we're gonna talk about next week the meat. Now,
Yeah.
in life, the speed of purpose, we go through so many different speed bumps. You go speed traps, so many different things in life, but in God, the speed is always at the expense, at the helm of his purpose. And
Right.
sometimes because we aren't sure, like she said, she knew she had a gift, but in one area she had the gift and the responsibility, and she didn't have it in the other area. And what gets me is, and Teona, you can identify with this, and I only know this because of my husband and my daughter. To jump hurdles, I feel like you got to have a mathematical mind, because my husband is like, okay, you need to do this at 85%. Okay, how do I know how to run at 85%? What does that even mean? Like, what does run at 85% mean? I don't even know what my 100% is. And I asked him, I was like, what in the world does that mean? And but so it was there. Like,
Right.
okay, you got to bring your trail leg, and your knees got to meet, and you got
Yeah.
to snatch it, and like almost like algebra or something. I'm like, what is he talking about? And so that's what baffles me, because talking to you, so it wasn't, again, like she said, it wasn't like she just didn't take the time to cultivate the mind that was there, because God never gives you a gift naturally that he does not give you the intellect to deal with,
Right.
but both have to be cultivated.
Right.
Parents,
Right.
you hear that? If your child has a gift, God has also provided the capacity to handle that gift in every area of their life. But
Right.
we have to make sure that we train them. And her, like she said, her mama was telling her family was saying it, but also they have to take responsibility to be balanced in every area, to cultivate
Right.
that gift. That if he gave you a gift, God is a responsible God, that he
Yes.
has given you the responsibility naturally, intellectually, to deal with this gift as well, and emotionally. So I'm gonna let you close out with something. Again, I want to check to make sure I don't think I have any questions. Let's see here. Yeah, everybody walk is different. She said a great job. Nakeesha said everybody walk is different. Someone says she's a whole walking testimony. Absolutely, she is. And let's see. Many blessings. Tiana, may God continue to bless you. Okay, so I don't want to go much further than this. So we're gonna end with how she did her work. She did what she needed to do to now take advantage of what her natural gift had opened a door for, which is to go to the college that God intended for her to go to. And next week we're going to talk about all of these people, because remember, but God places people in your path in this speed of purpose, on the
Yes.
highway, on your path. She had someone who was able to recognize it, someone who is able then to recognize it, cultivate it, then someone who was able to be brought in to even heighten it. And then God says, hold up, stop.
Right.
Now gain the responsibility for this great gift that I have given you, Miss Phenom.
Right.
You are a phenom, but you have to be responsible. And then she takes this introspective look and says, okay, let me get it and let me do this. Let me get down and do this right. She passes the test. And then while she's preparing, which is very hard to do, Tiona, that is hard to train by yourself, because Ari hates it. She's like, you cannot,
Yes.
it's like you can't meet your potential when you have to train by
Right.
yourself, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're going to end there. I want you to close with whatever is on your heart. Again, before we do that, I want you all, if you have questions. Okay, we have a question.
Okay.
Before we go, it says, what advice would you give young athletes facing delays in being able to live their dream? Because again, we're in COVID-19. Some kids who have academic scholarships, right? They don't know if they're going to even be able to run. So, Teona, what advice would you give young athletes facing delays in being able to live their dream?
Okay. So the key word in that is delayed, not denied. So in that delay, that just gives you more opportunity to cultivate in that gift. It gives you more opportunity to understand every dynamic of that gift. If you are a basketball player, you can practice your free throws, your layups, and just become great at that, like owning that. So when the time comes, you're going to be fully prepared and fully ready to go out there and jump into it. It also gives you even a special time to spend with God, because once everything opens back up and you have to jump out there, you're going to need his guidance every step of the way, because we're going to be so excited to get ready to do what it is that we have to do, where we kind of put a lot of stuff that's just as important on the back burner, i.e. of moving forward in the gift and taking it to a different direction, just open up different doorways and recognizing different opportunities that's going to come. So use this time to know yourself better, to cultivate that gift even more. You can never spend too much time on fulfilling the purpose until it's time to manifest. So use that time to just dive in deep, and definitely into the word of God. First and foremost, dive deep into the word of God, because he is going to lead you every step of the way as it pertains to your plan and your purpose. He's going to open up these doors. And the more you spend time with him, the more you'll be able to recognize when he's opening the door and when he's closing the door. So if you have a lot of downtime on your hand, because it's a maybe supposed to be open up, you can use this opportunity to know God, the gift giver, and to know your gift in and out. Still work on your body, work on your mind, work on your emotions, work on your intellect, and then trust God to know that all things work together for the good of those. So he wants athletes to use this time to search him even deeper, because we have the physical part. It's nothing for us to go out there and practice and warm up. It's nothing for us to go out there and dribble or throw a football or whatever your sport may be. That's nothing, because that's that gift that he put in us. It's the other side. The other side of being responsible for that gift is knowing how to be humble with that gift, knowing how to be humble within yourself, show humility within yourself. So this is just a time that God wants to build you up. So when he opened up those doors and release you into your sport, just know that it's going to be a grand thing, but you're going to have the maturity to be able to deal with everything that's going to come with it, because there's going to be some stuff to come with it when you open up, especially if you're a great athlete. I'm sure all you are a great athlete, but it's going to be a lot to come with it, and you're going to have the maturity to know how to deal with it. But if you only focus using this time of, doing the working out and, doing the gift, it's just a delay. That's it. It's just a delay. It's not a denied. If he called you to it, best believe he's going to set up the circumstances to make sure that you fulfill what he has called you to do.
Absolutely. That's awesome. Awesome advice. That's good. Let's see. Man, keyword again, delay, not deny. And when he is delaying something, it is because it's giving you time to now be able to gain more responsibility, insight, practice.
Yeah.
For for the next stage that he's taking you to, because you don't want to go in there immaturely, you don't want to go in there prematurely, which I think is why God delays us. I think it's his protection to say, this for you, but in order for you to do it, like I have it for you, I'm gonna have to delay you a little bit, i.e. in your how you went about it, how he delayed you to get
and also
it.
and also in this time, it could also be that it's some things in our heart that's going to sabotage our gift once the doors are open. So if you have a lot of some ungodly things, and you know what it is, but if you have a lot of that, we have to rid ourselves of those things so we don't sabotage this grand opening of our coming out and of us going into our purpose. So use the time. All right, Lord, I know what you called me to do. If I have anything in my heart that's going to get in the way in the future, let's work on that now. So when we go out there, we got clean hands and a pure heart.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's big, because a lot of times we don't recognize that. I mean, I get it, because it's like, I'm like, Ara's excited about going to Texas Tech. She going to school, they run fast there. I'm excited. And I'm like, okay, that's good. But what if God say no? I mean, she working out and all of that. And I think that's so good. Let me ask you this one question though. So we talk about spiritual part. When you're talking about natural, do you advise an athlete, like for instance, with you in track, do you advise an athlete when you're going into a certain level of track, you understand, okay, I'm meeting this kind of competition, I'm running 100, the 100 meters, I know. Would you advise that, okay, start, as it were, looking at your competition or the level that you're going to be competing against? Would you advise that or no?
Well, I mean, it depends. Some people like to look at, different people train and see and scope out their competition. I wouldn't do that, because doing that over a period of time,
Mm-hmm.
you may begin to feel as if you can't compete with them. So you looking at what they can do, and automatically you start saying what you cannot do instead of comparing what you can do to what they can do. So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, with football, it's kind of different, because you look at it different routes and different plays, because you have an offense and a defense.
Right.
Basketball is different too. But if you are an individual sport such as track and field, because that's my field of expertise, me myself personally, I would not do that. I would just hone in on what I cultivate what I'm good at, because I
Good.
don't want to look at somebody and be like, wow, she come out the blocks quicker than me, or she get around the curve quicker than I can, instead of saying, but my second half is better than hers. We don't go to
Right.
that. We go to how quick they are, and then we find ourselves trying to mimic their drills, because I did that. I watched this person work out or whatever. I don't want to say her name, but I watched this person work out, and she was going over the hurdles, and her trail leg was so fast. And I started to do that, and I hit my ankle on the trail leg and sprained my ankle.
Wow.
So we don't want to do that. Myself personally, I would not recommend that. To each his own. If you are confident enough and you can stand firm in your training, you have to be confident in your training, then by all means, feel free. I just wouldn't do that, because I don't want to automatically go to the negative aspect for me and forget about the positive.
Right. So it's okay if you're responsible enough to understand, just, okay, I'm just looking to see what my competition looks like, but it's definitely not advisable if you're saying, let me see how they train. Okay, I'm gonna train like that.
Yes.
Because it may not work for you. Okay,
Exactly.
So knowing your competition versus studying your competition.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so that's good. That's good, because you got to know what you're going. I guess you're going to compete against, but we don't care about how you got there, because what we got is going to be more superior, because we're going to hone in on our stuff.
Exactly.
Sure. Okay, awesome.
Right.
Let me see if I have another question. Someone said, good advice, putting God in everything you do. Awesome. Then, Okay, so we are a little over an hour.
Yes.
This is so good, Teona.
Yes.
I appreciate you so much for what you have shared. Again, parents, if your children are joining, let them listen to it again and again. I think this is so important. This is so important for youth to get. And a lot of times they don't like to listen to parents. And I know, because I have a few of my kids who went to the next level, and the whole time, and we was like, we told you that. And when they get, I went to college, and you know what they said? Well, we've been only telling you that for like the 4 years you was in high school, but okay, you finally got it. But they may not listen, because they may not feel you understand, and that's okay.
Right.
But you have someone here who can say, hey, listen, let me tell you what I experienced. Let them look at this live again. Share it with your nieces and your nephews. Share it with your adult friends who are going through anything, because though this aspect of the topic, the speed of purpose, started with her natural life, next Sunday, and we're going to come back next Sunday at the same time, we're going to talk about how all of this speed, the delays, the bumps, the humps, the bringing down low, and I'm back again, how all of this now feeds into this process, beautiful, amazing process that God has. This woman who understood she had a gift that was for long term, which means impact. And God said, now let me show you what the real gift is. I gave you this, but let me show you what the real gift is. So make sure you join us on next week.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining again.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I can't wait to do it again. Listen, flood her box with questions.
Please, I'm here.
Yes.
I'm here. I am here. I don't mind. I actually have a desire to talk to the young people, because those are some critical ages. Those ages we figure out the do's and the don'ts, the whys and the why nots. And if I can be the beacon of light to kind of guide them on a path, because I've been down the path and I know exactly where it's going. So if I can be the help to veer them back on the right path, I am more than willing to do it. Some people are visual learners, some people are practical learners, some people are audible learner, and any kind of learner that you are, I can definitely talk to you and help you and guide you on the path that you that you should be on, in a sense, a path where that God led me on late in the game, but he did. And I've been on both ends of the spectrum. I've been on both ends of the spectrum. So, but I am more than willing to help. I am more than willing. If you need prayer, I will pray with you. I will pray for you. I would give you advice as much as I possibly can on any area. If I don't know, I'm going to tell you that I don't know, but I would definitely try my best to get the answer for you. But I am here. Use me for whatever it is you need me for or whatnot, but I am here. I am here, and I am more than willing to help, because I understand exactly where you are. I understand your emotions. I understand your feelings, because I've been there. And I thank God for taking me there so I can say what I'm saying right now in this moment.
It's valid because you've been there.
Yes.
So listen,
Yes.
parents, listen up. Send it to your children. Send it to your nieces and your nephews. I don't care what area of sports they're in, even if it's not sports, if it's any area of their life. Send this live to them. Give them her hand, Teona Rodgers. Message her. If you have questions, I send them to my inbox. I will definitely connect you with her. But again, Teona, I so appreciate you. Y'all don't want to miss next week. Y'all got to hear I don't know if it'll be the culmination, but it'll definitely be a part of the story about how God took this infant thing, bring it and brought it into where she is, that's leading her in to what God has her to do.
Yes.
Right now. I'm excited. Again, thank you for joining. Thank you guys for joining. We love you. Be blessed. And don't forget, join us for the speed of purpose. God has a speed in everyone's life for purpose. Make sure you embrace the purpose that he has for you. Thank you. See you next week.
Y'all have a good day.